I'm Joey Reed, and I'm doing my lesson today on how to test for fat in foods. Teacher time in. Okay, class. Yesterday, as you know, we did a lesson on how to test for starches in foods. Well, today we're going to do a test on how to check or test for fat in foods. What kind of foods do you think contain fat?
Cake.
Cake? And why do you think cake has fat in it?
Because my mom always tells me not to eat cake because it's high in fat.
Okay. All right. Devin, what do you think? What kind of foods do you think have fat in them? Chicken. Okay. What makes you think chicken has fat in it? Any idea? Okay. What we're going to do next is a test on vegetable oil and water. Here we have two containers. This is our vegetable oil and this is our water. What you're going to do is take your dropper, squeeze the top so it sucks up the oil, and you're going to place 3 spots of oil on this sample. And do the same thing for the water. You'll drop 3 drops of water. Devin, why don't you do the oil, and Caitlin, you can do the water. Okay, very good. Now, let's take a look at the two. Let's look at the water sample first. What do you see on the water sample?
It's on top of the paper.
Okay, it's on top of the paper. And what's going on with the oil sample?
It's being absorbed into the paper.
Okay, and how do the two look?
Wet.
Wet, okay. All right. Now let's take a look again at the water. Let's feel it this time. Rub it between your fingers. How does it feel?
Liquid.
Wet?
Yeah, and liquid.
Liquidy, yeah. Okay. Okay. Now let's feel the oil sample. Rub that between your fingers. What does that feel like? Slippery. Okay. Now fat, if you were to rub fat between your fingers, it would actually feel slippery too. And as you can see here, it's giving you what kind of appearance?
Dark.
As you said, it was dark, but also what? Greasy, and it looks what?
Brownish.
Brownish, yep. And does it give kind of a glow to it? Shine? Yeah, shine. Very good. Okay. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to perform your own test to test various foods for fat. But before we do that, we're going to examine what these look like after they have dried. Teacher timeout. Okay. I'm going to place some dry samples here of what their experiment would look like after it dried within 10 minutes. Teacher time in. Okay, now let's take a look at these samples as they've dried. What can you tell me happened to the water sample?
It's gone.
It's gone. Julian? And you think, and why did it dry up? Any idea?
It evaporated.
It evaporated. Very good. Very good. Okay, what about the oil sample? The vegetable oil. It's still there. Is it dry? Does it feel dry?
Yeah.
Yes. But it's still there, giving off that same appearance as when it was wet, right? Yeah. Okay, now this is exactly what fat looks like on brown paper. And when you work with your group, you're going to take your food samples and you're going to rub various food samples on brown paper like this. And if there's any moist, greasy residue left behind that looks like this, That's going to tell you what?
That it's got fat in it.
That it's got fat in it. Very good. Okay, next I'm going to give you your lab sheets. Go ahead and write your name on them. And what you're going to do is make a prediction on these foods here. You have a variety of foods. In the left-hand column of your lab sheet lists these foods. You're going to predict in the middle column by placing an X next to the food item that you think will have fat in them. Okay? Go ahead then. Put an X next to the ones you think have fat in them before we do your test. Okay? All right. Are you done, Caitlin? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Done, Devin? Go ahead and set these to the side. Now, I'm going to give you a sheet of sample paper that are labeled, and you're going to take food samples and you're going to apply them. For example, a carrot. Find the paper and mark carrot, and you're going to press down firmly until your paper is wet. Okay? And then move on to the next. Devin, you go ahead and do the ones on the right side. Caitlin, go ahead and do the ones on the left. And you'll have to press really hard on the chips until, yes, just like that, Devin. Good job. Okay. There you go. Very good. What's your next one? Cheese. Okay. Okay. All done? Okay, very good. Now, these samples need to dry for at least 10 minutes in order for you to evaluate what is left behind. As we just spoke a moment ago about how you can tell if there is fat in that particular food item, we'll leave what? Greasy residue? Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Okay, teacher timeout. While we're waiting for these to dry, I do have samples that has already dried. Teacher time in. Okay, now that your samples have dried, let's take a look at your results. Go ahead and mark on your lab sheet in the very far right column which items you think contain fat based on your results. Caitlin, what did you find in comparison to what you predicted to what the test results show?
I didn't predict that peanut, cheese, and muffins had fat.
Okay. All right. And which ones, Devin, did yours come out in comparison? Did you have what you predicted? Anything on your prediction that didn't match what actually showed to have fat? Which ones? The bread, margarine, mayonnaise, and carrot. Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Now, let's set those to the side. And I'm going to show you a couple of food containers. You've been to the grocery store with your parents many times, I'm sure. When you do your grocery shopping, do you ever look at the food labels? Sometimes. Do you know what a nutrition label is?
Something on the back of stuff that shows.
Okay. Okay. It lists various categories, including how many calories total are in the food, fat content, how many grams of sugar, and so on. Well, we're going to take a look at these two packages, and let's see what kind of fats they have in them first of all, and then we're going to compare them. Now, this is Quaker Oats, and if you're going to have a bowl of oatmeal, on the label it shows a total fat of 3 grams. Now, look underneath that category with your partner and tell me what kind of fats are listed.
Saturated fat, trans fat, lipids fat.
Okay. Mono, unsaturated, and polyunsaturated. Okay. Saturated fats are fats that at room temperature, like your butter, for example, on the plate, at room temperature, that would remain solid. And your normal saturated fats come from cows, pigs, or sheep. Saturated fats or trans fats, both do. Now, those are considered the bad fats. The good fats are your polyunsaturated and your monounsaturated fats. And at room temperature, those fats are in liquid form, like our vegetable oil that you worked with earlier. These particular fats come from plants. Now, looking at that label again, in the oatmeal, how many grams of the good fats does it contain? One? One of each? Okay. And how about the saturated fat? How much saturated fat does it have in there? 3.5. Okay, very good. Now, let's take a look at the cupcake box. What types of fats does the cupcake contain?
Saturated.
Saturated? Does it have any of the good fats in it? No. Okay. Well, fats, the body needs fats for energy, like starches. However, too much of the bad fats is not good for your body. Now, when selecting food at the store, next time you go to the store and you're thinking of grabbing a snack and you want to make sure you're eating healthy, which one would you select? Because it's got good fats in it. Very good. Okay, good job. Now, if you were ever given a food sample and you want to know if there is fat in it or not, how would you go about testing that next time?
Looking at the box, you're doing what you just did.
Very good. That's exactly correct. Now, what I want you to do is take your lab sheets back to your desk, and in your journal, your science journal, yesterday, remember, you had written down what you ate. Now, I want you to record your results in your science journal, and I want you to check what you wrote yesterday, what you ate, and write down whether or not you feel it's healthy or not healthy. And if you feel it's not healthy, I want you to write down a healthy menu instead of what you think would be better for you. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.